Thank you all very much. I've really enjoyed this. Let's see if I can figure out which way to go with this. Yeah. So if you don't know much about Formosa, yeah, we're a plastic plant, but we produce polyethylene, polypropylene, PVC. We have 3 olefins units. 2 of them make ethylene and propylene, and 1 just makes ethylene. Other chemicals, caustic, chlorine, and EG. We also have air separations. We also produce all of our own electricity. So we have cogen units and 3 of those. And a circulating fluidized bed that doesn't circulate or fluidize anymore that we converted over to natural gas. So anyway, as most facilities, we are a highly hazardous facility. We're regulated by OSHA, EPA, PSM, RMP, ISO compliant. We're a pretty big facility. We have about 2,800 Formosa employees there, so we have about 20 plus operating units and close to 900, it's about 850, 870 operators on site. So our skills challenge. Back in 2013, we were going to go through a phase 4 expansion, olefins 3, PE 3, LDPE, and an EG2 unit. And so we knew we were going to need a lot of operators. Our community college that's right next door to us, they were going to graduate 15 people. And at that time, we were 85 people short, plus we knew we were going to go on expansion, so we had to figure out how we're going to get all these people. Next year, we're looking at 200 operators that we're going to have to train. So we had the lack of standard onboarding methodology. Back then it was a 4-year degree or process tech degree or 5 years experience, so we're lacking that. Also, some of our problems is SMEs. We built in the 80s, we expanded in the 90s and 2000, and a lot of them are retiring, right? So we got to capture that knowledge before they're gone. So, like I said, greater than half our workforce has less than 8 years of experience. As you can see in the graph here, I started the program in 2014. I was a training coordinator then, and we go all the way to 2022. So in that time, I've trained 829 operators. Out of that 829, we rolled over around 700 to Formosa, and out of that 700, it's roughly about 500, almost 600 that we've retained since then. Some of them have left, some of them, self-inflicted. But anyway, that's our new hire success rate is roughly 88% that we roll over, and then retention rate's about 77%. So I thought I had a problem hiring a lot of people until I heard Tesla, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I don't have a problem. Past practices, tested solutions. When I got there, it was job shadowing, on-the-job training. We read books. We didn't have any subject matter experts. It was a new facility, but we brought the licensor in, and they trained us. Procedure review, sign off, videos, pictures. They're always difficult to maintain. Smart procedures. We do have all our SOPs electronically, so we did do that. And then the Ptech programs, they were going directly to the units, but it's a big inconsistency in all the Ptech programs. When I do interviews, and I've done a few in the last 8 years, probably close to 4,000 interviews, there's a big inconsistency in Ptech programs. If you come from certain ones, I know the questions that you're going to answer correctly, and if you come from others, I know you're not going to be able to answer some of the questions. So I do talk to the advisory committees on those and let them know. So what did we do? We developed our own curriculum. Like I said, we train operators. Our minimum requirement to begin with was high school education. We started in 2009 that we started teaching at the high school. We taught Introduction to Process Technology and Introduction to Safety, Health, and Environment. I taught there for 4 years, and now I have employees that teach there. Formosa allows them to go over there and teach those 2 classes at the high school. They earn high school credit. And plus, if they test out through the college, and we pay for their testing for the college, Formosa does, Then they can earn 6 college credit hours if they test out 3 for each class. So that helps us get inside the schools and promote us and promote our industry. We do take them on field trips, not only to Formosa, but we also, there's Dow right close, and we take them over to Dow and let them tour those facilities so they're aware of that. We do have an offline full-size training skid, and we are, like I said, very involved in the Ptech colleges. There's our off-site training skid in the background. It's one of our olefins units. But we built this, it's just water running through that, just so they're aware of the different things, you know, lining up pumps, starting pumps, what an on-off switch is, you know, how to use a pair of channel locks. Yeah, believe it or not, hedge clippers are not the way to use a pair of channel locks. We teach that. We figured out, and any of y'all familiar with Stephen Ranella, the meat eater? He wrote a book called Outside Kids in an Inside World. And most of us here were outside kids, okay? We drank out of the water hoses, we rode our bikes, things like that. But we are living in an inside world, and COVID has made that even worse. And if you don't believe me, ask my daughter. She's teaching kindergarten, and she tells me, you know, these kids were 3 years old when COVID started, and they're not exposed to anything. They have no clue. So in 12 years, guess what? We're going to have another big gap. The gap now is caused by taking a lot of stuff away from school districts. We don't have shop, or we didn't have shop. Back when I was there, we had shop, we had auto mechanics, we had boat building, we built nets because we're on the water, shrimp nets. All that is where we learned how to use our tools for manufacturing, right? And they took all that away from the kids, and now we don't have that. They're bringing it back, luckily, at least in our school district, they're bringing a lot of that back. And so hopefully it'll be good. But remember, in 12 years, a lot of these kids were isolated during their critical learning years, you know, when they're young. So remember that. So the benefits. Our center, like I said, we think we do a good job. We have 76 modules that they go over, computer-based modules. We brought Vuvio in. We have SOPs that we are now teaching and showing them. They're reading PNIDs, they're understanding things, and so they're in our program for 10 weeks in the classroom. And then we send them out to the field for 12 weeks, and they shadow somebody. And if they are successful in all that, then we offer them a job. If there is an opening, and there has been, we hadn't had that problem, we offer them a job at Formosa, for Formosa. We hire them as contractors, we pay them during all the training, but after those few weeks of all the training, then they're offered a job, and that's kind of how we've solved our issue of trying to find enough people. Simulation, we are starting to purchase a lot of simulators that are exactly like the units. Our Olefins 3 has a full Olefins 3 simulator, so we can onboard people with that. Any questions, comments? Oh, you're letting me off easy. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Shawn.